Welcome into another episode of The Latest with Devin and Brennan, guest starring John Swenton this week, filling in for Brennan. Very excited to bring you another show, so let's hop right into it. Patriots, 2-game losing streak. Tough one against the Chiefs last week, but for me, I don't know about you, but I think the main problem has been Tom Brady. Just missing open passes, stuff we haven't seen him do over his career. And I think he's been the biggest problem with the Patriots and their offense. Everybody's looking at the receivers. Sure, their receiving core doesn't look too good, but I think Tom Brady missing the receivers that are open is the bigger problem. What do you think about all this?
I think that the issue is not Brady himself. I think what he's trying to do is send a message to the ownership, maybe Kraft, as he has a lot of problems with him. But I remember a few games ago, Julian Edelman had a step on the corner he was with, but I think he threw it away from him on purpose just to kind of show that he needs better receivers to get or to run the correct routes, I guess, even though Edelman is his go-to guy.
Yeah, I think he's been a big part of the Patriots' problems. They had a tough week and loss against Houston, lost by 6, and then they lost to Kansas City by 7. Getting into that last game, Patriots have had a lot of good officiating or bad officiating go their way in the past. Some they can and some they can't control. But this was a blatant miscall. Patriots wasted their. I didn't even think the second play that they challenged for the first down. I didn't even think that was a first down for the Chiefs. And I don't know how they could look at it, and maybe it was inconclusive, but I didn't see it there. And then N'Keal Harry with the foot in bounds dove, had a touchdown. That would have sent the game to overtime, because then they could have kicked a field goal instead of going for it on fourth down, and would have went to overtime. So that kind of stunk for the Pats. But besides the refs, what else hasn't been going good for them in the past 2 weeks?
Well, I think actually about the refs for last week, they also called back a fumble that could have been, or not, they didn't call back the fumble, but Stephon Gilmore did pick up a fumble. He probably could have ran it back for a touchdown, but he didn't get the chance to because they called it down early.
And I think a big problem for the Patriots, too, they've had next to no offense in the first half. Everything that they've scored has been turned on in the second half. Think about it against Houston, put up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, ended up losing by 6, 28-22. And then against Kansas City, they put up, I think they had 3 in the first half, and then had 13. Or no, I think they scored a touchdown their first drive against Kansas City. And then nothing until they try to make that valiant effort come back. But
I think the issues with the offense are definitely all about the receivers, and I think probably the biggest problem is that they did nothing in terms of replacing Gronk. I know he's one of the best tight ends of all time. There's really not much you can do to replace a player like that, but they didn't make any effort that I saw.
And I miss Jacob Hollister. He's down in Seattle. He's having a hell of a year for them. I think that if they kept him, he could have been a very big tight end piece. And Antonio Brown, apparently, according to Adam Schefter, the Patriots will not be getting him back. How do you feel about that move by Kraft and all the front office?
I definitely think it is a horrible idea. Why would you pay a player to have him not play for you? Especially a player who, in my opinion, is probably a top 5 receiver of all time and already has a great connection with Brady. I mean, he lived in his house for a little bit. They love each other. They both want to play with each other, but Kraft is getting in the way of that.
Yeah, Kraft does not want Antonio Brown back due to those text messages he sent during his rape allegations. But I think everyone makes mistakes. Robert Kraft has definitely made a few mistakes, so I don't see we need to win football games. It's a business. Like, think about it. There's guys on the field, think about Tyreek Hill, guys like that, Joe Mixon, who have made big mistakes but are still on the field to this day.
Laramie Tunsil.
Yep, Laramie Tunsil. But I think Antonio Brown did go through a bad streak, but he's been very active on social media apologizing, and I don't see why Kraft wouldn't bring him back, but it's out of our control. Moving on to next week, Patriots, 1-12 Bengals. This should be a gimme. They've lost 3 of their last 4, I believe, the Patriots. Or no, 3 of the last 5. They barely beat the Cowboys and the Eagles. But how do we feel about this week going in Cincinnati, on to Cincinnati?
I feel very good about it because they have been recording their plays in practices, which makes no sense. Why would you record the worst team in the league's plays?
Now, I heard it was for a documentary to cut you off.
That is true. That is what they claim, is that it is for a documentary that they're filming around the entire league. But either way, if this is an allegation for them that they get a few times, or that they have gotten a few times, and I don't know why you would need to do it for them if it is true.
Yeah. I think the Patriots, this should be a pickup week. They should pound the Bengals, but you know what? Anything can happen. Cincinnati's been fighting the past couple games, giving a couple teams a scare. And then moving around the league, Lamar Jackson, MVP favorite candidate. What would you like to touch base on with him?
He's, I think, 23 yards away from breaking Mike Vick's rushing record single season, and I think he'll definitely get that tonight. He's playing against the Jets tonight.
Yeah.
I think he'll easily get that, probably first quarter even.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson, focal point of the Ravens. And you think about it, the Patriots were thinking about taking him. They ended up taking Sony Michel, the pick before him. And Sony did not look good last week. He wasn't even running. Do you think that Lamar Jackson would have been this good if he played in New England?
I think that the system that they're running in Baltimore, where he has total freedom to run whenever he wants, I think that works really well for him. I think he still could have been great in New England, but I don't think they would have given him that kind of freedom.
Yeah, at least a couple more years behind Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. But he turned out to be a great quarterback, former Heisman winner. But then his last year in college, he didn't have a spectacular season, slipped in the draft, and the Ravens got the best of him.
A big part of that is because people assumed that because of his speed and his agility that he was going to switch positions, but he never wanted to. He never ran the 40 because he thought that it was going to make people think that he was going to go in as a wide receiver or running back, which is clearly not what he wants.
Yeah. Shifting gears, the New Orleans Saints, they just had a battle lost by 2, 48-46 to the San Francisco 49ers. But I think with Breeze back, the Saints are the real deal. Their defense needs a little help. Do they have Lattimore back?
Yeah,
I think Lattimore got hurt, but Saints are the real deal, I think. Above the Patriots now in the power rankings, Patriots dropped to 5 behind the Chiefs, Saints, Niners, and Ravens. But yeah, I think the Saints are the real deal. I think they're going to be a contender. I think that they'll beat the 49ers in the playoffs. I think the 49ers thing's still coming down to experience. A lot of people beg to differ. How do you feel about that young 49ers group?
I think their defense obviously looks very good, but I think I agree. There's just too many young players.
And Garoppolo is not that good.
I don't think he is that good. Last game he did have a really good game, but I think Breeze outplayed him 100%. I think Breeze had 5 touchdowns.
Yeah. So.
And I think that Garoppolo relies on his running backs a lot too.
Yeah. Now, how about these guys? 6 and 7, I believe. Dem boys. They're in quite the battle for the NFC East with the Eagles. I think their Eagles are like, who did the Eagles just get pounded by? The Dolphins?
No, I think they pulled it out.
No, I think the Dolphins won.
No, the Eagles won.
No?
Yeah. $5.
All right. But anyway,
we'll get back to that.
We'll score update on that later. But yeah, both those teams racing for the NFC East. Terrible records. I don't think the Cowboys have a legit shot in the playoffs. But you think about all the talent on that team: Byron Jones, DeMarcus Lawrence, Leighton Vander Esch, Zeke Elliott, Dak. Dak's not a bad player. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, even Witten's not having a terrible season. Why do you think the Cowboys just can't put wins together?
I think that Jason Garrett is just not the best coach. I think with a good coach and a better system, they could easily be a very good team, but they just aren't that now, and that's the reason.
Yeah. Moving on to the college football playoff has been set. LSU number 1 versus Oklahoma number 4, then Ohio State versus Clemson 2 versus 3. How are we feeling about this? Predictions for each round in the final national championship.
I hate to see it because I'm a huge Oklahoma fan, but I think LSU is probably going to pull it out just because Joe Burrow is going to be the Heisman winner this year. Should be Jalen Hurts, but, underperformed a little bit. Hate to see it. But I do think that Clemson will actually pull out over Ohio State.
Wow.
Just because they have the experience. I think Ohio State.
I'm going to agree with you. I think it's going to be LSU Clemson. Who do you see in the national championship?
LSU.
Yeah,
I just think that they're too dominant of a team.
They are. They're having a great season. Did they beat Alabama? They did. Mm-hmm. So that hasn't happened in a while. Good for them. Alabama's
not even in the playoffs. Haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah. So very much looking forward to the college football playoff. Moving on. Celtics, one of the top teams in the East, but they have had the injury bug with Gordon Hayward. He got blown, shot by a hand in the nose last night. Apparently he will play tonight. Just coming back off his surgery on his hand. What have you liked about this Celtics team, not liked? Do you think they're legit?
I do think they're legit, which I hate to say because preseason I wasn't expecting much of them. In fact, I said that they were going to have a very horrible season, but I'm very surprised. Kemba Walker, he's doing very good. I didn't think he would do as well as he is. I think he had 44 last night.
44, 7, and 7.
Very surprising, but they are the real deal, I
Who
think.
do you think is the big leader on this team? Because I'd have to go with Jason Tatum. I think that whenever they need a shot, it looks like the craziest shots he's able to knock down.
I think that Tatum definitely wants it to be himself, where Kemba definitely wants it to be himself too. But I think that because Tatum has been there for a little bit longer, he's going to be the guy for them.
Yeah, but going with back to Kemba. Kemba is a very different guy than Kyrie. He's always happy. He's always modest. He's never aggravated with his teammates. I think he tries to accept the role of being a leader, but doesn't force it on anyone. He lets them go to whoever they want to go to, whereas Kyrie wanted all the spotlight on him. The rest of the NBA, it's been pretty interesting thus far. You said you wanted to touch on Nikola Jokic.
At one point, he was considered to be the MVP this year, just because of his performance last year and in playoffs, and he's underperforming horribly.
Yeah, and then Rip City, the Blazers, they just got Carmelo. He's tearing it up out there. Didn't they just get someone else out in Portland?
They're looking for Kevin Love.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see them. And then you got Harden and Russ tearing it up in Houston, Kawhi, Paul George. That West is still stacked, but the East has been. I'm surprised how good the Bucks are playing this year. No Malcolm Brogdon, he's out in Indiana. They beat the Celtics last night, and a big part of that was Malcolm Brogdon. LeBron and the Lakers, I think they've lost 3 games. They're having an outstanding start. Warriors, not so much. Philadelphia, they're playing the Celtics tonight. So a lot of talent being spread league-wide. We haven't seen this in a while, where both the East and the West have a lot of talent out there. And I think we're going to be set for a great regular season. Moving on into some puck. Bruins, 3-game losing streak. They lost to the Capitals last night in overtime. They're second in the power rankings, dropping from the 1 spot to the Capitals. What do you like about this Bruins team? Do you think that they're going to have a good postseason run this year?
I think just based off how Tuukka Rask played last year in postseason, if he plays again like that, then they'll definitely have a great chance at it.
He's had a tough stretch, but David Pastrnak just been an anchor of that team, contributing goals, assists. He leads the league in goals by like 5. He's having an outstanding start at that top line. And once they get everyone healthy, they got his back. I think he might even be hurt again. Jake DeBrusk starting to turn it on. But is there anyone on this team you think is maybe causing a little bit of hurt or harm?
Not so much now, but I think that Pastrnak last year, with how he played in playoffs, that might show up again. I hate to see it because he is probably their best player in regular season, but he underperforms in playoffs.
I hate saying this, but I think a big problem for the Bruins has been Zdeno Chara. He's looked absolutely terrible as of late. He can't even control the puck. His passes have looked lousy. He can't get back on defense, not as fast as he used to be. I hate to see it. This is his final season. But I think he's been a big part of the Bruins' few struggles, turning over the puck. What do you think about Chara?
I think he actually should have been gone a little bit ago. I've noticed plays or what he's been doing this season a few times. Usually makes up for it in size, but he just doesn't have the speed, doesn't have the hand work. I just don't think the age caught up to him.
Yeah, and like we were talking about, the Washington Capitals having another great season. They're the 1 in the power rankings. TJ Oshie had an unbelievable game last night. They won 3-2 over the Bruins out in Washington. What do we think about the Capitals?
I love TJ Oshie after what he's done in the Olympics, and that goal last night was beautiful.
It was. So moving on around the horn with the MLB, Rick Porcello, former Cy Young winner in 2016, has signed a deal with the Mets, a 1-year contract worth $10 million. Sad to see Rick go, but of course we wish him the best. He had a tough last couple seasons after going 22-4 way back when. What do you think about the Red Sox shipping him out? Well, not shipping him out, but letting him go.
I think they're going to rebuild and let a lot of people go. I mean, your guy JBJ, they're already talking about shopping him.
They better not. They better
We'll
not.
see.
I'm going to be really upset if they do.
Yeah, I think they're definitely in a rebuilding phase. So I'm actually not mad that they're doing that, if they're going to do that for all these players. But if they try to keep a few of them and just be an average team, I don't think that would be the best idea.
Well, you think Dombrowski traded the whole farm, and he did get that ring in 2018, but now there's no farm, and they want to trade bets and all these things for prospects. And, those are coin flips, so you got to be very careful. I'm not sure if they've named a general manager officially, but it stinks to see Rick go. I want to know what they're going to do with Evaldi. They're paying him so much money. A lot of wasted money has gone through the Red Sox organization, you think. Hanley Ramirez, Pablo Sandoval, Rusney Castillo, I bet you've never even heard of him.
I have no idea who that is.
He's making $9 million a year, and he hasn't even played in the MLB in 4 or 5 years. So just dumb moves like that. David Price hasn't been himself. He's the 10th highest paid player in baseball. I think the front office needs to turn it up a little bit, and we'll see what happens. Something that breaks my heart here, Gerrit Cole agreeing to an unbelievable contract. I believe it's 9 years.
Or no,
9
maybe
years,
nine.
$324 million with an opt-out after the 5th year. This is scary for the Yankees. When you think about their staff, they have a nobody, and Domingo Germán, who came out, he's very young, 20, 21 years old, had an unbelievable season until he got hurt. He was considered the Yankee ace. Then you think they got Luis Severino back off injury, James Paxton, former Cy Young winner, Gerrit Cole, Masahiro Tanaka, who's been absolutely lethal, Jay Happ. They don't have CC anymore, but I don't think they're that upset about it. But Jay Happ. So this Yankees rotation is going to be absolutely stacked with the acquisition of Cole. And this should be very scary for the AL East. This is one of the best staffs I've seen in a while. Anything else you'd like to add to that?
I've always liked Aroldis Chapman, so you always got to think about how he's coming in to close. And as a closer, you hate to see the fastest pitch of all time.
And yeah, I mean, Josh Hader could also join, and he was on the all MLB first team as a reliever. So be very interesting to see how that winds out. Also sending a congratulations to Xander Bogaerts from the Red Sox, who made the all MLB first team as a shortstop. But finally, the last big deal, Anthony Rendon leaving the defending champion Nationals to go to LA with the Angels. I believe that deal was 7 years, $245 million. Very talented third baseman. He might be up there in the age a little bit, high 20s, early 30s. But it'll be interesting to see how that works out for them. Not much more MLB news. Moving on, Spartans hockey starts tonight. Very excited. A lot of new faces led by their captains, Mike Moynihan, Nick Saraceno, and new assistant captains, Owen Kervick and Jack Morehouse. They have a strong group this year. I believe 9 seniors, if I'm correct. No, I think a little less. I think a little less than 9 seniors. Maybe 9 tried out. But we're going to have a strong club this year. I think they're going to make a run at Western Mass. What do you like about our hockey team this year?
Definitely the offense. It looks amazing this year. I mean, both the first and second lines are very solid.
Yeah.
And the third line is not as bad either.
Yeah. Top line is going to be Mike Moynihan at center, and then at wing, you're going to have Nick Saraceno, Owen Kervick. Second line, Morehouse, Miller, and Mark Shvetsov. So coming back from the picks, Mark Shvetsov, big acquisition. And then on the third line, you're going to have Liam Asher, and then a few freshmen. Luke Haynes, definitely a staple for that team. Looking forward to seeing how he fits into the system. Then my brother up for a job, Brady Dobeck, and also Aiden Asher and Teddy Kuhn. So that third line, not exactly finished. We'll see what happens with them tonight in their first regular season game. And then the defense is pretty much set. There's Sean Higgins, Kendrick LaFleche, Travis Arnold, and CJ Kaloji, and then Dante and net. So it'll be a very good season. Very much looking forward. Minichog will be Saturday at 7 o'clock, I believe. Brennan should be on the call. I'm not sure who he's doing it with, but I will have work. But looking forward to that season. And then basketball starting. Spartans boys basketball team, 1 senior, Eddie Abel Gabadia. He will lead them hopefully to a decent season. We'll see how that plays out. And then the girls, a lot of new faces in that girls varsity team. Looking forward. Any comments with the boys or girls basketball team?
I think the boys team is going to have an underperforming season just because they're lacking a scorer. Just one player who can just get a bucket for them at any time.
And I would agree with you because, one senior, a lot of banged up people that unfortunately can't play. Ray Carter, Ryan Delaney, guys like that. But that pretty much wraps up our show. Thank you for joining us here on LCAT. And we'll see you next time. This is Devin Dobeck alongside John Swinton signing off.